Hello, welcome to week 2 of your assessment experience. Thank you, all of you, for your thoughtful comments in the Padlet. I look forward to more of those in week 2. Um, Especially the areas that you quote unquote have failed as an instructor. I think, the word fail and failure I mean, that's kind of heavy. None of our students certainly want to fail, and I know none of you do either. So, certainly looking at it in many ways, but I think uh, we have learning opportunities in front of us at all times, and those are certainly uh, ideas that we want to impart on our students. That learning is continuous and it really never ends. So. There will be stumbles along the way, and how you address those stumbles and what types of uh, adjustments you make and your flexibility and adaptability are all extremely important. And like I say, we certainly want to be doing some continual self assessment and reflection, but we also do want to, like I said a minute ago, to impart that idea onto our students as well, because one of the unique features of working at Gateway is that our students are learning to utilize and apply what they're learning more so maybe than a 4-year private college, or just a general studies degree or something like that. So again, most of our students are learning what you're teaching them so they can use those tools. So we want to certainly let them know that failure is a strong word, and it does happen, but we try to stay away from punitive terminology and look more at the growth opportunities and learning opportunities therein on our paths. So anyway, thank you for sharing those. And what I think one of you mentioned, just generally, being being humbled, and then accepting that sometimes it's a heaping slice, a humble pie that we are given, and whether we choose to consume it or not, or how much of it is up to us. But anyhow, great work, everybody. Week 1 and moving forward into week 2, it's in essence more of the same. So let's get to it. I don't want to keep you too long. Oh, by the way, one of you, actually, a couple of you have asked over this first week or so about opening all of the units at once and just getting them done. And you're busy, and yeah, I definitely respect that, and I would prefer that myself as a student, to be able to work at my own pace. In fact, uh, my courses, most of them, not all, but many of my courses that I teach, I do open them up, especially web courses. But even hybrids, I will open them up day one, the entire semester, tell everyone, work at your own pace. It's all available to you. Now, over a 14-week period, that is certainly appreciated by your students. It can also be intimidating to some, but just again, if you do choose to open your entire course on day one and allow your students to work at their own pace, I think, especially in a web course, that's very desirable. It's very commendable if you are willing to do that and are willing to handle that. Now, my experience, again, I've been doing this for a long time, and the work at your own pace, open up everything at the beginning, I've also been doing for a long time. And oddly, and certainly I provide a schedule and a recommended outline of kind of a map of how to go through the course. And, believe it or not, I would say probably 80%, more than 75%. I'd say at least 80%, 4 out of 5 students generally follow the timeline and finish around the same time toward the end of the semester. There are a few that finish early, get everything done, in a 14-week course. Some may get everything done, maybe 10% will get everything done in less than the 14 weeks, maybe closer to maybe like 10 weeks or 7 weeks even. And then there are those, again, probably another 10%. So 10% that go super fast, get everything done quickly and check off the boxes. And then there's another 10% that oftentimes wait till the very end and get 14 weeks done in the last 3 or 4 weeks. Highly stressful for them, I'm sure. I tell them that from the beginning. But again, it's their experience, and I try not to micromanage their experience. But like I say, it's up to you how you do it. Now, so going back to a couple of your questions and your emails, I want to address that as well really quickly. I'm this course is designed to be opened module by module, week by week. We only have 4, maybe 5 of those that we're going to go through. So, you're about halfway done. And with the interaction of the discussion boards, you know, there's that aspect as well for being able to communicate and see week to week what your peers are discussing. There are only, I think, about 8 or 9 of you in the course, but yeah, I totally respect that. I totally appreciate it. However, the way that I'm told that they want this course to be designed and put out to you is in a week to week, module by module or unit by unit method. So there you have it. But thank you for asking. And again, like I said before, as it applies, since this is a course for faculty quality assurance, again, as it relates to you as an instructor and how you utilize your LMS, which is switching, of course, to Brightspace here in a month or two. Again, that may be a situation where you will just open things week by week, switching to a new LMS. Again, I don't know. I'm in the process myself of trying to manage and juggle my transition from Blackboard to Brightspace. So I don't know. I have 2 web classes this summer, and my goal is to have the entire course open and do it how I normally would, regardless of it being Brightspace or Blackboard. So anyhow, just think about that. Don't necessarily think about what you prefer as a student either, or what you even prefer as an instructor. The idea is what you feel is going to be the in the mind and or in the framework of student success. So um, navigating what's best for the group is your job. It's part of your job, and that can be tricky at times because the dynamics of your group changes even within a semester. The same group, their dynamics can change, which means you may have to change or alter and be flexible and adapt to what the group dynamics dictate. So, again, and many of you are teaching face to face and have the opportunity to work in that kind of setting where you maybe have that flexibility. Again, in a web asynchronous type of course, the social environment is completely different. The dynamics are completely different. So your expectations have to be different. The idea for assessing the kind of parasocial environment where it's asynchronous, the idea really is that you have to be even more flexible with how you provide the students with the materials, the engage, comprehend, practice, apply, if that's what you're going to use, but how you provide them with the tools they need to get all of those learning objectives met. So again, in a web setting, how you assess that and how you introduce and provide is ultimately it's up to you. But just know that students really, for the most part, appreciate having the flexibility of working at their own pace, lack of rigidity on punitive or punishing deductions for due dates. Um, Again, it's most students generally are going to get everything in when you recommend that they get them in based on the map. Now, if you are keeping to strict due dates, I really do recommend keeping your course open one module or unit at a time, or 1 week if you do them week by week, keeping them open or only opening them 1 week at a time. Now, this is a unique situation because I am totally not rigid with due dates. I'm extremely flexible. I always have one due date. That's the end of the semester for all of my classes. Now, um, again, that's probably that goes against the grain. It probably makes some of you who maybe have some pedagogy experience. Remember, we're dealing with andragogy here, not pedagogy. Pedagogy is teacher-centered K through 12 ideology. We are dealing with adults. Andragogy is more learner-centered and much more immersive for the individual to experience what they need to experience, and that involves a lot of flexibility. So anyway, due dates, rigidity with due dates is certainly dependent on a lot of factors. But again, think about we're trying to retain students. We're not trying to alienate them. We're trying to ensure that they get C's or better. And in fact, B's or better are ideal, but we definitely want to limit or minimize our drops, our fails, and our withdraws. So how you do that is by staying engaged with the students on a level that isn't micromanaging them, but also isn't aloof from them either. So again, in a face-to-face setting, that's a little bit easier because you get to see them and interact with them. They still have to be there, so sometimes that can be tricky, too, for some students. So being flexible with your attendance policy may be important when it comes to assessing. I wouldn't recommend having any points for attendance. Again, this day and age, students our adult students have spouses, children, jobs. They have bills to pay. They have other courses. They have a lot going on at all times, and so we definitely don't want to be a barrier to their growth. We want to encourage their growth. So again, making sure that you have some flexibility. Be clear with your policies; those go in your syllabus. So anyway, I'm kind of rambling, but I think you follow what's going on, and really kind of my lesson to you really for this unit is again flexibility, adaptability, being communicative, making sure that you from day one in your syllabus, and even reminding your students throughout the semester what your expectations are, and how they're going to be assessed, um and again, keep it uh neutral positive. Try not to go into if you don't do this, you're gonna regret it, or those days are done. Students don't need to hear that. They're very, very, very busy. They're spending a lot of time, energy, and money to better themselves and to better their families and to really have a brighter future. So you want to be a positive in that path and know that it's that they have a job to do too. And we again want to provide them with all of the tools necessary and not inundate them. And again, if the due dates are the due dates, make them clear. And like I say, I would recommend only opening your items week by week. If you're going to be very flexible with due dates, open everything up at once and let everybody go. Now, like I say, I almost said it a second ago with this class, I'm flexible with due dates. This isn't a pass fail. You either do the stuff or you don't do the stuff type of thing. We're halfway there already. So it's really informational. What you take out of this is for you to utilize. And so, but at the same time, I'm only opening things up 1 week at a time. So kind of goes against what I just got to say, but that's not my call. This is a course that's taught throughout the entire state of Wisconsin. So really we are required to teach it how they tell us to teach it. So, and that is unit by unit, 1 week at a time. So let's get into unit 2. So again, you can put this type of stuff in for your students. The other thing to look at as we're going through this course and this shell is your own kind of course design. So part of assessment, again, it's probably the number one reason why a student is with you is because they want to know how they're going to be assessed and what kind of what the path is to get the grade of an A or a B or a C for some students. They're content with that. Most aren't. I found at Gateway over the years that generally most students are going to be A's, B's, and then you'll have a few that just don't do much of anything, or they just fall out. And you can stay up at night figuring out how to retain all of your students and get that 100%. And you won't get any. You'll lose sleep, and you still won't get anywhere. So again, you can only do so much and try to keep your DFW slash your retention, at least like 80%, try to retain 4 out of 5. And if you start with 25 students, you want to end with 20 of them at least getting, A's or B's or C's. Okay. So, and like I say, your ability to be flexible and adaptable at times and communicate um, you know that's important, and that's what'll get your students to meeting the objectives and to getting to the end and just um, that's it. We're not trying to reinvent the wheel. All right, so let's not reinvent the wheel some more. And you can put this type of thing in there, engage. I put these numbers in. Whether it takes you that long, I have no idea. Hopefully it doesn't. Hopefully it is on the low end of these. This will be an hour or two, around 2 hours. That should be plenty. But like I say, if you have extra time and you want to read more articles, I put some links in here. You can certainly do that. So engage. You're going to do another Padlet. Comprehend, you're going to do something called perusal, which will be new maybe to most of you. And then there's another little discussion board, and then a short assignment that you'll put into the Dropbox. So why are you doing this? Well, we're looking at formative and summative for this unit. So the first thing you're going to do is watch this video. It says 6 tips. It's somewhat misleading. She talks, if you just watch it and hear in the thumbnail, she's going to give you 3 tips. And then there's another lady here that'll give you 3 more tips in a different video. And at the end of this one, she does provide the link for that. But if you've watched this in YouTube, you'll get the link as well. So anyway, watch that video, and it has some basic teaching tips. Again, this is just to get you engaged a little bit. And then I created a Padlet that'll take you over to the brain. Here we go. A few of you have already started, which I appreciate. What did you learn from the video? So again, you can, oh, and by the way, most of these do say anonymous at the top because you don't have an account, which is great. But most, and not but, and most of you put your name in the subject line, which is what I need you to do. I did notice that there were a few that didn't have that, and so I wasn't sure whose they were, which was fine. I figured it out by process of elimination. But try and remember to put your name in the subject line. So, but anyway, these are perfect. The comments. What did you learn from the video? Bottlenecks, which she discusses in the video, and then scaffolding and what scaffolding means and how she uses that to assist her students. And then how do you allow students to practice before applying in the learning cycle? So again, using our engage, comprehend, practice, and then apply. Many of you discussed this last week, and I know some of this may seem a little bit redundant, but that's okay. That's kind of the name of the game for long-term retention and utilization, as well as buy-in. So the comprehend part you're going to do this week. So again, oh, and then once you're done, again, you'll go in and type done and submit, and you'll be good on that one. And then the comprehend part is something called perusal. So when you click that, you should have an account already in, and it should take you to something that looks a little bit like this. So we're going to use this again, week 4, unit 4. So this is something new. Well, this perusal isn't new, but it's probably new for most of you, if not all of you. So it is free to use. You have a gateway account. So as an instructor, if you want to use Perusall and set up a course, you certainly can do that. It's another type of communication tool. You'll see what I've done is put an article in here. Here are the again, you don't have to answer these. These are just options for you to answer. But what's unique about Perusall, and let me eliminate that. So you can eliminate that. You can bring it back in to if you'd like. If you want that back out, you click this button and it'll pop it back out. But anyhow, what you can do is just kind of browse through, read through the article. Looks like some of you have already done it. You can see how the highlighting is. So you highlight and then you can take notes or make comments in different areas. Oh, nobody's commented. Okay, as I say, I must have highlighted it. So anyway, so summative, maybe you find something in here that's really fascinating. Summative assessments are assessments of learning. Formative assessments are assessments for learning. Kind of a neat deal. So I can highlight that, and then I can write a little comment, and then submit that into the next on my thread. So anyway, I think so you can type in something that's of note in there, and then hit enter. I'm not. I'd like you to read the article at the very least. If that's all you use Perusall for this, that's totally cool. I'm not here uh I'm here to provide you with different tools for assessing students besides just your LMS and what it provides. So Padlets are a really good tool, I think, besides a discussion board. I don't really use discussion boards in any of my courses. I use a Padlet instead. I really like Padlet. It's just, I don't know, it's more, I, I don't know, it's more slick, I guess, than maybe the discussion boards, less clunky and maybe less archaic. So Perusall, I also don't use in any of my courses. I use uh, I use I use the LMS for quite a bit of this stuff. So I would embed this article into Blackboard. Um, or I would have a link out to maybe a Google Sheet or a Google Doc that would have, or Google Slides. So anyway, take it for what it's worth. This is a really nice article about formative assessment and summative assessment. So I guess my point is, please read the article at the very least. All right. How much you do from there is totally up to you. Um, let's see. Um, so again, if you make a comment, great. It says at least two. If you you don't do whatever you want with that. I'll like I say, you'll get credit regardless because I'll know I can tell if you opened and clicked the perusal from my end. So as far as making comments, I leave that up to you. Um, and maybe you'll find I like Perusall. It's pretty neat. I suppose I teach a lot of science courses, so I could probably find ways to use that in my science courses. But there is a course that I'm starting to teach called Gateway to Research. It's focused just on research, using APA and coming up with a research project. So, that might be something that could be kind of a good place for an article dump for a bunch of scholarly articles. I don't know. So anyway, these resources I would definitely go through and read through these as well. Again, the perusal is a way to not only read the article, but communicate with each other and make comments within the article. So that's what that's about. Could I have just put the article as a link in here? Yeah, absolutely. So anyway, here are some more articles on formative and summative assessment. So go through and read those. There are also a couple of articles on creating assignments, effective writing assignments. Again, depending on the course you teach, I teach science primarily. I do teach Gateway to Success as well, which I recommend if any of you do like teaching and you like a gateway and you like helping students learn a little bit more and have a better experience maybe at Gateway, you could always think about teaching that class as well. But anyway, um, I I require writing in all of my courses, even though they are science courses. You don't oftentimes equate science and writing. Hopefully you do, but yeah, I do case studies and that's their primary writing assignments, not a short answer questions and that. I do journals for my nutrition course. So anyway, there's an article on effective writing assignments. Um, I have found really, again, it depends on the type of course, but maybe it doesn't. Maybe any course, really. We have them in here in unit one. You did a journal, kind of a reflection, but I don't think it's a bad idea to include a journal as either a low stakes kind of assignment for your students. Um, or if you really like I say, for the nutrition course I teach, a big aspect of their experience in the course is their consumption awareness. So I really, in that respect, journaling and having a weekly journal and checking in and really allows me to see and for that really for them to see what they're doing and see the improvements that they make throughout the semester and kind of have it all in one place. And so I think it works really well in that course, and the students do too. And so I make it a little higher stakes. It's something that they put a lot of energy and a lot of effort into. It's a key component of the course. So to me, a journal writing is a very big component. But again, my advanced anatomy and physiology course for nurses, we do a lot of case studies and virtual labs and quizzes and things like that. But they do a lot of, and they do Padlets. So they do writing with the Padlets, they do writing with their case studies. And so anyway, it's important to just be clear with what your expectations are if you require references and that type of thing. So, and then lastly, heading into kind of expectations of your assignments is creating a rubric. So, you're definitely going to want to poke through that slide deck. We'll talk about rubrics again coming up, but this is kind of your intro to rubrics. You probably already know what they are, but We'll go through them in a little more detail here coming up. But please review that slide deck. It's got some great info on rubrics. Or, they also, a rubric is also known as a scoring guide. So basically, it's how are you assessing them? I mean, that's what this course is about, right? Is figuring out how you're going to assess your students based on meeting their objectives. And you want to be very clear, and you want to communicate to the students what those instructions and are, and not just that, but how are they going to be graded? So that's what the rubric is. You can keep them very brief, very simple. If you'd like, you can make them, which I recommend. You want to keep them pretty straightforward, and you can have them on a met, not met type of rubric. So they either did it or they didn't do it. That works well with especially nursing or cosmetology or law enforcement courses with having to do some of their checkoffs. Did or didn't do. There's that's a good rubric model. If you're going a little bit deeper with like case study assignments or writing assignments, your rubric might be like a 0 to 4. Or 0 to 3, 0, and then you want to have they didn't do nothing happened basically. And then you want to have what the categories are for what you're scoring them on. So if the assignment's worth 20 points, you can have 5 categories of points and a 0 to 4 scoring range or something like that. So you have 5 times 4. If you get fives in all 4 categories, then the student gets a 20 out of 20. So so anyway, I think most of you probably know what a rubric is. Some of you may already use a rubric, or your department that you work in has created them for you. So, but anyway, watch the ad, and then you've got a little discussion board on formative and summative. Really, I just want you to consider any one of the courses you teach. All of you teach different courses, although some of you, it sounds like there's some overlap at the jail. So, and I do. All right, maybe it's discouraging that your technology isn't up to snuff, but I'm preaching to the choir when it comes to what probably should be happening and what the reality is. So you really my props to all of you and what you're doing for our students. And so anyway, think about pick a course you any course. It could be one you are currently teaching this semester, one you really love teaching, but you haven't taught in a while, one that, whatever you want. Briefly describe the course. So, 3 sentences, is good, 3 to 5 sentences, description of the course you're talking about, and then discuss a little bit about when and how you assess for summative. When and how you assess for formative. I mean, that one probably, I mean, that could well, I don't know. Everybody's different. So maybe just have a final exam at the very end. It's cumulative, and you just put all the eggs in one basket. Maybe you have a final project that you have them do that really ties all the loose ends up and everything that they learned. So so anyway, think about how you're assessing your students and when you're doing it. And again, pick a specific course. You don't have to necessarily, put your course calendar in there and, go, keep it brief, clear, concise. That's what we're looking for with discussion boards. And another thing, and this is something that I noticed, and again, I didn't mention this for week 1. I want to mention it now, and I'm sure some of you have already done it. I haven't looked at week 2 discussion board yet, but I'm assuming some of you may have done it. But I really would recommend this for your students as a teacher if you'd use discussion boards. But also, I'm telling you, I need you to do this. I need you to put the text of what you're talking about in the discussion board thread. So please don't link a document into the discussion board. Because as a reader, I have to click that and then it takes me out somewhere else and I have to go back in. It kind of defeats not the purpose, I guess the theme really of the discussion board is to be able to see what you're writing or what someone wrote and then comment on what they wrote. So again, please just put your text. Now, having said that, I definitely recommend writing your post in a Word document first because Blackboard will go to sleep. Blackboard will get weird, not just Blackboard, computers. So if you're typing right into Blackboard in the discussion board comment and you click away to check something and you come back and now Blackboard went to sleep or something, then it's gone. So you need to put your original post in a Google Doc. I totally recommend to my students always Google Docs, Google Sheets, Google Slides, over Word and Excel, and but that doesn't mean they have free access to those. So it doesn't matter what they use, but or what you use, but type what you want to type into a Word doc or a Google Doc, copy and then paste that into not the address, the copy and paste what you typed into the discussion board. So then your peers can read without having to leave or download your document. So, or the PDF or whatever. So please don't do that anymore. Please, and again, I didn't mention this. I totally forgot to. But again, moving forward, please either type in the discussion board or copy and paste what you've typed into the discussion board. We couldn't tell either way what you did, but yeah, don't put a link to a Google Doc or a PDF or a Word doc. And also, like I said, if you have your students doing discussion boards, you need to tell them the same thing. Okay. So anyway, that's pretty much it for that. There's not much for the practice. Just talk a little bit about that. And then lastly, there's a little Dropbox assignment. So from that discussion board post that you just did up here, I want you to consider these questions. For me, you're going to provide this to me. You can put this in a Word doc or a Google Doc, or with assignments, you can just create a submission right into it. So here's what I always recommend. So you're going to click that, and then what I would do is just you don't necessarily need to highlight the whole thing, but I would just highlight Control C. So you're going to copy those, and then you can just put create submission. You don't have to open a Word doc if you don't want. And then Control V is paste, and then just start answering these questions. That's all you need to do. Again, I don't want you to reinvent the wheel. Hit submit and you're done. Okay. Um, Simple. Do you use a rubric or scoring? That's yes or no. So for the course you just talked about in your discussion board, how do you provide feedback? Do you provide feedback? And if so, I hope you do. How do you provide it? Do you provide it in the assignment comment area? How do you provide feedback? There are a couple of ways in Blackboard that you can. Do you send out emails? Do you send out Loom, Loom? That's something that you have access to as a gateway instructor. Loom is a video creating tool that you can embed into emails. So you could do a short 8-minute Loom video and then put it in a group Gmail or a gateway email and send it to your students, and then they can watch the videos. You can provide feedback that way too, video feedback. It can be short, just 1 minute Loom video. Bink, send an email to Sally that, hey Sally, I read through your case study. It was great. Just a couple of comments. Create whatever, right? Carbonic anhydrase is the enzyme, et cetera, and so forth. And the parathyroids secrete parathyroid hormone in this situation. And so just remember that. Great job. Keep up the good work. Click done. So you could provide feedback that way. So I'll show you next week what Loom is. Um, what assessment methods have you found to be effective and not effective? So maybe you don't know. Not providing feed or well, no assessment is bad assessment, but maybe there are some assessment methods that you found that haven't been effective. So um, I think speaking of this in both a summative and formative way, you know, I have found that for certain classes, a comprehensive, all the eggs in one basket final is perfect. Like it just because they're prepping for a some sort of a test that's gonna test their knowledge on all this stuff. Uh, like for nursing, they take a HESI. So an end of semester kind of cumulative test their knowledge on everything they've done. Um, that works really well. I find that to be effective. Am I going to do that in another a different class? I don't know. Maybe not. Maybe that's not as effective. Maybe having my students create like Gateway to Success. I don't have them do a final exam and cumulative. We have them do a reflective project that discusses kind of what they where they were before they got here, what how things went in the course, what they really liked, what they didn't like, what they would change, and then maybe what they're looking at for the future. So you could give some sort of reflective project at the end of the semester for that formative. So anyway, maybe you find that discussion boards are not effective. Like students view them as kind of a hassle. They just type stuff in just to get it done, and so maybe those assessment methods and that type of assignment isn't something that you've preferred. So maybe discussing point management. So maybe I'm weighting something too much and not weighting something, like I found that case studies can take quite a bit of time for my students versus the virtual labs maybe don't take as much time. So I needed to tweak the weighting that I provide for them. So assessment methods, are you doing quizzes? Are you doing discussion boards? Are you doing writing assignments? Are you doing papers? Are you doing projects? What methods are you using to assess your students? So just type that stuff in, click submit, and you're done. All right. Speaking of being done, I am done as well. I don't have anything else to say really about Unit 2. I've probably said more than enough. So have a great week, and I look forward to week 3 and providing you with some more tools of assessment and a few more things to think about. So have a great week, everybody. And again, please email me if you have questions, and I'll get back to you as soon as I can.